Hi everyone. Next we can discuss about chromosomal disorders. Chromosomal disorders or chromosomal anomalies. Here the chromosomal disorders can be divided into two. One is autosomal disorder and the other one is sex chromosomal anomalies or sex chromosomal disorder. In man, normal chromosome number is 46 or 23 pairs. 23 pairs or 46 number of chromosome. Out of 46 number, 44 are autosomes and a single pair is allosomes. Allosomes. 44A plus XX for female and 44 autosomes and XY is in male. In the case of male, 44 autosomes and 1 X chromosome and 1 Y chromosome. In the gametes, 22 autosome plus X in female and 22 autosome plus either X or Y in the case of male, which determine the sex of the child. See here, in chromosomal disorders, these chromosomal disorders may be due to addition or deletion of chromosomal segment. Here, addition of one extra chromosome may lead to the disorders called Patau syndrome, Trisomy 13, Edwards syndrome, Trisomy 18 and Down syndrome, Trisomy 21. Why this is called trisomy? Tri means 3. In the set of chromosome, I already told you 23 pairs are there or 46 number of chromosomes are there. In the 13th pair, usually 2 chromosomes should be present, but here instead of 2, 1 extra chromosome added to the 13th pair and it will become instead of 2, 3 are there. So it is called trisomy. Trisomy 13. Let we can see what are the characteristic features of Patau syndrome from the following slide. Patau syndrome is associated with a severe intellectual disability and physical abnormalities in many parts of the body. The symptoms include cleft lip or cleft palate, clenched hands, closed eyes, sometimes eyes may actually fuse together into one, decreased muscle tone, extra fingers or toes, that is polydactyly, hernias like umbilical hernia and inguinal hernia, hole, split or cleft in the iris, that is called coloboma, loss at ears. Next is Edwards syndrome. In Edwards syndrome is otherwise called trisomy 18. Of 18th chromosomes are in pair. Instead of 2, by again addition of one more chromosome take place in the 18th chromosome pair. Hence it is called trisomy 18. We can see what are the characteristic features of Edwards syndrome from the following slide. Edwards syndrome or trisomy 18 is a genetic disorder caused by the presence of all or part of an extra 18th chromosome. It is named after John H. Edwards, who first described the syndrome in 1960. The majority of children born with Edwards syndrome appear both fragile and weak. Many are underweight. Their heads are usually small, while the back of their heads are prominent. Their ears are lozate and malformed. Their mouth and jaws are small. Micrognathia. Babies with the syndrome may experience a cleft palate or lip. Their hands are often clenched into fist with their index finger overlapping their other fingers. Babies with Edwards syndrome can have club feet as well as toes that may be fused or webbed. Children with the syndrome can experience problems with their lungs and diaphragm and blood vessels which are malformed. They may present with a number of types of congenital heart disease to include atrial septic defect, ventricular septal defect or patent ductus arteriosus. Children with the syndrome might have an inguinal or umbilical hernia, abnormalities of their urogenital system, malformed kidney or undescended testicles if they are male. In this slide, the karyotype of Edwards syndrome and the symptom with a baby is shown. See in the karyotype, the 18th chromosome instead of 2, 3 can be seen. Next is Down syndrome, trisomy 21. Here the 21st chromosome is 3 in number. Instead of 2, the 21st chromosome is 3 in number. That may lead to a condition called Down syndrome, or it is otherwise called Mongolism or Mongoloid idiocy. Mongolism or Mongoloid idiocy. Then the characteristic features, moon, face, protruded tongue, salivation, malformed heart, malformed brain, then spleen. All these are some of the characteristic features of Down syndrome. You can see the characteristic feature through the following slide. Down syndrome or trisomy 21, the individual have distinct facial features. Though not all people with Down syndrome have the same features, some of the more common features include flattened face, small head, short neck, protruding tongue, upward slanting eyelids, unusually shaped or small ears, poor muscle tone, broad short hand with a single crease in the palm, relatively short fingers and small hands and feet, excessive flexibility, tiny white spot on the colored part iris of the eye called brushfield spot, short height. This slide shows the karyotype and symptoms of Down syndrome. Down syndrome is otherwise called trisomy 21. See the marked region in the karyotype of 21st chromosome. Instead of 2, 3 chromosomes are there. That is why it is called trisomy 21. As I mentioned earlier, the symptoms of Down syndrome are shown with the figures. So these chromosomal anomalies or disorders taking place. The reason is called genetic non-disjunction. The phenomenon is called genetic non-disjunction, means non-separation of chromosomes. Non-separation of chromosome during cell division or during anaphase, the chromosome should move towards pole. But in the case of this, due to genetic non-distinction or the default in spindle fiber formation, the chromosome will not move to opposite pole, instead which will come to one side. These trisomies are taking place. Next is sex chromosomal anomalies. Sex chromosomal anomalies is related to sex of the person. See, for example, they are of two types. This is called Klinefelter syndrome. Here 44 autosomes and XXY. That means in the case of male, one X chromosome, extra X chromosome is present. So what will happen here? The males will show female characters. Mean secondary sexual characters in male are not seen. Instead, all the characters of females are seen in this person because of the presence of one extra chromosome. The characteristic features can be seen from the slide. Syndrome is seen in men. An extra X chromosome in every cell, which is the most common. An extra X chromosome in only some cell called mosaic Klinefelter, in which you don't have as many symptoms. More than one X chromosome, which is very rare and more severe. As it is 44 autosomes plus XXY or XXXY or like up to 49 chromosome can be seen in Klinefelter syndrome. It shows the characteristic features of Klinefelter like sparse facial hair, reduced muscle tone, prominent breast, smaller testicles, and the chromosome is XXY. The sex chromosomes are 3 in number. That means one X chromosome is more in males. Another sex chromosomal anomaly is Turner syndrome. It is seen in females. Females having 44 autosomes and XX. Normally it is XX, but in female one X chromosome lacks due to genetic non-distinction. One X chromosome will not come to the female gamete or during the process of cell division. So what will happen here? 44A plus X0. X0 means only one X chromosome is present. Here the females will show male characteristic features, or females do not develop secondary sexual characters like poorly developed genitalia, underdeveloped breast, and some of the characteristic features. So like we can see what are the characters of Turner syndrome from the following slide. Syndrome, a condition that affects only females, result when one of the X chromosome is missing or partially missing. That is a sex chromosome. Turner syndrome can cause a variety of medical and developmental problems, including short height, failure of the ovaries to develop, and heart defects. This figure shows various characteristic features of Turner syndrome like hyperthyroidism, white chest, infertility, numerous moles, problems in the lymph system, loss at ears, small jaw bones, short and wide neck, cardiac problems, swollen hands and feet, etc. Slide shows the Turner syndrome karyotype. Here, all the autosomes are normal, but in female, usually 44 autosome plus XX is the genotype for female, but here instead of 2 X chromosome, only 1 X chromosome is present, while another X chromosome is absent. That is, the genotype is X0. 1 X chromosome lacking. This is called Turner syndrome, occur in females. So females will show male characteristic features. Dear participants, from these explanation and slides, I think you can understand what are chromosomal disorders and how it happens, or what are the reasons for these and with the characteristic features. See you in next class with another topic. Thank you.